Good morning. Welcome to the Small Business Support Group. It's Friday. Let me take that graphic off the screen there. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody this morning? It's the weekend already. Should I say that? I don't know. Maybe not. It felt like the weekend last Tuesday. So let's bring Maz in. We've got Mark on the phone. We've got Grant. Morning, everybody.
You have to do something about it.
Do something about what?
Welcome to the Small Business.
Oh, here we go. Look, just leave the volume up, won't you? That'll confuse things.
I want to do my watch party.
Oh, is that you? Sorry, I thought it was Mark.
He's having a go, and he's like, set your watch party. I mean, like, yeah, gee whiz.
So, good morning. It's Friday. It is the 22nd. I have to check that every day. I should really know. This is the Small Business Growth Support Show podcast, whatever else we're on. I don't know what to call ourselves anymore.
Where are we?
Where are we? What day? We've got big news next week. I'm calling today this will confuse everybody. I'm calling a production meeting next week, kids. So I'll be telling you what day we're having a production meeting. Yes, of the show.
A bit flash.
It does. We're gonna spitball some ideas, and we're gonna expand the show in several ways. So that's all exciting. But let's get on with today, shall we? Now, as I've said all morning, I have a very, very special guest coming on today. And Maz has been, she's been squirming all morning going, who is it? Should I brush my hair? And she's doing all that. And clearly she hasn't. So I'll give you a little hint. Shall I give you a little hint who it is? Right, hang on a minute. Maz, calm down. Right, here's a little hint.
Yeah, it's Darren.
Yeah, it's Darren. There he is. Matt's actually got it right there. Morning, Darren.
Morning. It's our sponsor, Darren.
I don't know if he seems to be a bit worried about it. He was like asking all the questions. What should I do? What should I talk about?
I didn't know what to wear.
You know what to wear? Well, clearly, no one else bothers, so don't worry about it. So. Obviously, we've brought you on because we've talked about the segways, and that's a great picture. You take that picture, Daz?
Yeah, it was at Plymouth. Yeah,
nice picture. That it's a good picture. So that's not your full-time job, though, is it? Is it a part-time one?
Yeah, absolutely. My day job. I'm a head of service and performance for BT Air Logistics. So my daytime job is a bit serious, really, where I'm responsible for all the teams that sign off anything that comes in and out of the country by air. So 100% of import and export comes through a product that my team, a messaging product that my team develop and support.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's sort of relevant because of the way I got to setting up the Segway bit, because it's all about importing from China. So sort of I've got a bit of an insight.
I was going to say, yeah, because is this affecting you at the moment, Darren, or is it essential travel? Obviously, import and export.
It's really weird because we've got 3 tour businesses. So from a BT perspective, absolutely, because we get paid per message. So obviously, not a lot's going in and out. Though cargo is going in and out, and some of it very peculiar, and some really strange requests. And for the first time, we're seeing cargo on standard planes, so personnel planes. So rather than just cargo planes, so in seats with nets on and things like that. But a lot of it's PPE. That we're seeing. So yeah, it's affecting that point of view. BT, of course, we're sort of probably profiteering is the wrong word, but certainly it's not impacting us as a business. But on the flip side, it will do, because like many other people out there, all of our customers need us, and we're there, I personally think a good job, but I think when it comes to them customers paying us, that's when it's probably going to hurt us, because as much as people might need our services, not a lot of people have got a lot of money to follow up on, paying for them services. I think in the coming months as we hit our initial issues.
So when did the Easy Glide business start? Oh, I've cut him off already. I've cut him off instead of Maz. Sorry, mate. So when did I should know what I'm doing after 8 weeks of this? So when did the Easy Glide business start then?
So Easy Glide's been a bit of a brainchild for about the last 3 years, and what it was, it's through music. A drummer that I met up with had a little Segway business that was really struggling, and he was using something called a Segway product, because Segway is a brand, not a product as such. So it's not, Segway doesn't equal car or scooter. Segway is a brand. And he was using what are called Segway X2s, and Segway X2s are about £8,500, which are similar to this beast that's sitting behind me there. So they're big machines. They're a bit bigger than that. As I've got 19-inch wheels, they've got 21, so they're a little bit more of a beast. But they were built for the American market, so they're extremely resilient but extremely expensive, and they are incredibly painful to get repaired. So he was starting to lose his fleet. It was his own business as they were breaking down. I was helping him repair them because I'm a bit of a techie, but you can't touch them. Basically, they're more protected than any Mercedes or Porsche or even Lamborghini. They're basically everything that's repairable on a Segway, which is very basic bits of kit. Segway has 2 system boards, a balance board, what's called a gyro, a power supply, and a couple of batteries. In basic form, it's all very hot swappable from any of us who's got a bit of a technical knowledge on a screwdriver, but they know each other's components, so they can only work when they're programmed to work with each other. So it's costing us a fortune, and he was going out of business. So I saw one of these Chinese products as I was helping him repairing them, and seeing that we were slowly losing these fleet and couldn't repair them without being handcuffed by Segway and paying a fortune and waiting. And we decided to get one in and give it a test. And it was interesting. We played with it for about a year, smashed it up pretty much, tuned it a bit. It was very unrideable. They're quite dangerous when they come into the country. They have things like steering algorithms, a bit like powered steering on a car.
Right.
So messing about with all that and how they balance and how they work. And we managed, I'm working with the Chinese factory, managed to get this product actually, what in our eyes, better than Segway's X2 for a fraction of the price. So
you weren't buying them on Wish then?
No, but we weren't far off. We was on your typical Alibaba and all that sort of stuff to start off with. Yeah, absolutely. All the usual Chinese websites.
So I've known Darren a long time. Actually, it's a bit remarkable how actually I sat down this morning and figured out how long ago. But we won't mention years, but it's been a long time because Darren used to work. My dad had a hi-fi TV shop at the Fox and Goose in Birmingham, and Darren worked there for a few years, and that's how we met up. But also, if you look, it's very subtle. If you look at the background of where Darren sat, because he's a musician as well, so he's got obviously his guitars and his microphones and his keyboard. I know, there you go. And I've never seen that room before, but I could just tell everything was going to be stacked up around him. Yeah. That is just great. But yes, we had some great times in that shop.
We did, yeah. We did. And musically as well. We had a studio, didn't we? We had a bit of a play.
Yeah, we made. I made my dad build us a studio at the back. We had a bit of space, so we said, "We'll build a studio here, Dad." Okay, all right, fine.
Matt,
yes, Mark.
Do you want Maz grant himself just to leave and leave you two?
Right, can I just say? All right, that's fine. Get a little joke in there, Mark. Where were you yesterday, Mark? Mark, where were you yesterday?
My wife took over the studio, and I've been wife.
And you had work to do.
Yeah.
So at 12:15, you were working yesterday, and that's why you couldn't come on the show. Were you working at 12:15 yesterday?
I did take lunch with my wife yesterday. Yeah,
taking the fifth.
You took your wife out for lunch.
Well, yeah. Right.
So at 12:15, why did this picture appear on Facebook?
I'm trying to get into Greg's to give her a tip.
Well, there's obviously a couple of questions we need to ask now. One, that why Greg's was short. Two, is that where you take your wife for lunch? Is that what you?
Matt, it's probably her birthday again.
Of course, it's an extended birthday. It was 12:15. That picture was posted up on Facebook, and I thought, the cheeky blighter couldn't come on the show, but he can try and get into Greg's. It's just. And where did those shorts come from?
I like where Yeah,
You're doing some socks with them shoes, I think.
Yeah, I've got to. Yeah,
always remember you're being watched, Mark. Always remember.
But I'm just thinking, I'm looking forward to obviously a sponsored trip to Darren's place on the Segway.
Oh, definitely. I mean, because it's just that. Is it just outside Bude? You're at?
No, right in the middle of Bude. So we're literally.
Oh, you're in the middle.
Yeah, so we're literally on the golf course. Literally on the.
So it sounds like an activity that you could do and still social distance.
Absolutely, and this is the thing where I suppose we closed like everybody else, and we was due to open 2 new sites. So we're due to open. We got the site in Bude. We're due to open, and touring sites are really our mainstay. We've supplied Leicester City Football Club with a few, and we've got sales out there. But we realised that actually the best place for us is tour business, because we have no competitors. We have our own products, and anybody that has an X2 is going to be a diminishing fleet because they're so expensive to repair. So as they fail, they're going to go slowly and sadly out of business. So we really have got a real niche market, or certainly a bit like BT really. We get a monopolised market. But yeah, so we got tour businesses. So you literally come down. And you go around the woods. There's different levels of tours. There's obstacles and things like that. So there's one up in Ilfracombe, one down in Perranporth, and one in Bude itself.
And how long's the battery last on them?
Go on then.
Sorry, I've just got a few questions about the.
Yeah, you can. I was just going to ask about the weight level, but just carry on though.
Two good questions. Yeah.
So range is something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, batteries. You're talking, because they're off-road machines and they're massively dependent on weight. So obviously they'll last a mile or two either way, depending on the weight of the person. I'm a very light 14.5 stone. They'll last a good 10 miles with me off-road. So they're working quite hard, and they'll do a good 10 miles. You could probably push that range up to about 14 miles with someone slimmer and whatever else. Maz, for instance, would be going for a lot further than myself or Matt would be going.
All right. Thank you. That's harsh.
Sorry, man.
No. Darren, first of all, I was going to say welcome to the show. Very nice to see you, because I know that you are a regular viewer and you also comment. So it's nice to put a face behind the comments.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Segway business, amazing. I actually went to Prague a few years ago and I did a tour on the Segway, which is really, I've tried the Segways and they're actually amazing. Brought back some memories for me, having a look at the Segway behind you. I remember doing the 4-hour tour on it and doing the whole tour of Prague on it. They're fast. Yeah. I mean, I did it myself, and then I can't remember. I've done it in another country as well, and I fell off and I had a really bad accident. Where I scraped my knees and my arms, but they're actually
they're incredibly easy to ride, and I think the problem you have, Matt, and what you would have used is something called a Segway i2, which is what they use on the streets. They've got little skinny tyres, and they're basically the same machine with smaller tyres and slightly reprogrammed. They go for a longer distance as well. But the other thing that with Segways and versus Easy Glides, and some of the knowledge of the last 5 years of my bandmate and business partner, is that the safety levels. Now, Segway built in safety levels that are American lawsuit type safety levels. There's redundancy all over their machines. For instance, a motor winding. If a motor winding goes, there's a secondary winding so the thing can stand itself upright. It's all overkill and very, very expensive. Same as system boards. There's 2 system boards in a Segway X2, and for resiliency purposes as well. But they were developed back in 2000 or just before, and they had all sorts of investment from NASA, and it's ridiculous amount of research and development that went in, and they haven't really changed or grown, and they've been bought over the years and not really moved their product further forward, because they were meant to take over cars and they never did. Though they are good fun to be out on. I'll go out on mine illegally around Bude, because they're not legal on the roads yet, like any electric device. But again, that's another law that's changing. Like say in Prague, Spain, France, it's all legal. And from a safety aspect, a Segway as well, an X2 Segway brand, when you step off it, what you probably would have found, most people's accidents are at slow speed when they step on and off the machine. They overthink it and they pull on the handlebar and it spins, and because it's still activated. And that's another thing we tuned out of ours, is when you step off it, it deactivates completely. You fall off a Segway X2 and that thing carries on for it will turn off, but once it tips, and it will turn off 30 seconds later. I've seen people where they've run over their heads on tours and stuff, deservedly, because they've been a bit silly. But, but they're extremely safe machines. You wouldn't, and I've had people with MS. Our oldest is 86. That's gone on a tour. Weight, Matthew, you mentioned weight. It's another differentiator that we built into it, and it's all about power motors and whatever else. But you're talking into the 20 to 25 stone sort of criteria, where Segway X2s are 18 stone. Again,
yeah. So that means that me and Grant will join you on the Segway, and we'll eliminate Mark and Matt. You'll have to do something else.
Oh no, I don't think he was talking about the weight of the machine, Maz. I think.
No, that's the weight you can ride. That's the weight you can ride.
Oh, is it? Well, I'm fine. I'm well within that. That's fine.
Oh, it's a terrible one, because you have to tell people. Obviously, you get somebody turn up to a tour, and you have to make that judgment and think, I'm not sure this is the right activity for you. But how do you say that? It's quite a tricky one, to be honest.
Just have a sign.
Right,
Sorry, Mark.
One at a time. Mark, go on. You first.
I'd say, Darren, you can be honest, mate. Can I get on the Segway or not?
You can, Mark. You look fine to me. You look about 22 and a half, so you should be all right, mate.
If he keeps going in there, he won't. He won't be able to get through the bloody door. Sorry, carry on.
We've had a lot bigger.
Grant, sorry, you had another question, Grant.
I was just going to give Darren a bit of advice about his point of sale marketing. He'd just have a big sign saying "No fatties."
You see, Grant's being very spiky today. Very
that reminds me of a 1980s doorman, Grant, who used to say, "People, you can't come in because I can get 2 drinking guests in the club," which is economically, it's economical rather than fatties. But yeah, I won't go down them routes. That's it.
I'm not feeling very PC today. I don't know what it is.
No, the WhatsApp group earlier was very spiky, so we won't go into that again. Right, okay. So, has anybody got any other points? Because I know we've all got all the other stuff you want to talk about, but I don't know if you want to still bring those topics up or move across to Monday, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to summarise there. I've an old colleague of mine used to work for me. Bless her. Her parents had a flat, or a house, if you like, type of flat there, overlooked Bude. How beautiful it was. So. Definitely come down to use the Segways there.
Oh yeah, it is. It's just I'm very fortunate, to be honest. Moved down about 17 years ago and never looked back. It's a different style of living. It's like living in the 1970s, but in a good way. It's very much leave your door open type place, and a very community. Even though it's probably about 9,000 to 10,000 viewed as a town. If something happens, an old pension, there were some people travelling through, some travellers, and they managed to rob an old pensioner's house, by deception. And within 24 hours, I think we had a crowdfunding nearly £2,000 back for him. So it's a lovely community, really. But then again, the Facebook Bude Banter, join Bude Banter. It'll give you a laugh every day.
Bude Banter.
Bude Banter. Yeah, it's also a strange community as well. There certainly is a Cornish element to what goes on down there.
There's a beautiful. When you enter Bude, because obviously it's a bit of a cove, I suppose, isn't it? Because going out to the sea, there's a great restaurant hotel on the right hand side, up on the slightly raised up. Is it?
The Falcon Hotel, big white building on the canal.
It looks out. Does it look out over the bay as well, or it
looks out sort of pointing towards the canal and towards the bay? Yeah.
That's it. A fantastic restaurant. That is fantastic. Yeah. No, it is a beautiful area.
Yeah, very fortunate. Yeah. And it's a great place, this type of business. As much as it sounds like an all fun business, there's a lot of serious to it. There's a lot of insurance, trying to find sites, even staff and whatever else that you can train. And then even from a health and safety point of view, they're intuitive. Everybody, like I say, we've had people with MS who can't balance, who stand on them because they've got gyros. They balance for you. It's almost they're thinking on Elon Musk's thought today. It's almost cyborg. But yeah, they are really, really good, and it is a beautiful place in the world to have a business. And we look to expand across the whole Southwest over the next 3 years to have at least 10 to 15 sites over the next. And let's face it, because of what's going on with the world, we know. So
how is that affecting the Bude itself? The COVID at the moment with the lockdown, and because is it affecting it in negative ways or?
Massively, yeah, massively. So, you're talking it started off where we've got the pitchforks out, so everyone coming down, you know, have a pitchfork. You're bringing your dirty diseases with you and all that sort of good stuff. There's some harsh reality to it. When you look at this one hospital in North Devon, and that's got 8 ICU beds. If you then influx it with the level of people that come into the county, and with the chances of bringing COVID as well, them 8 ICU beds aren't going to go a long way. So there is, and even shopping. You know, you look at Asda shopping and whatever else. Now you can guarantee 20 items a week you're missing. When the tourists come down, it's just a different world altogether. But on the flip side of that, so you've got, it started off, I'd say 80% of people were like, stay away, you know, you've been silly. I'd say it's more like 40% now. I think the squeeze on local businesses, holiday parks, shops, it's a weird place to see ghost. It's like a ghost town, like you in London, Grant, the other day. It feels like that, empty and soulless, when it should be vibrant and full of happy people because they all come down on holiday. Pubs closed. It's just a weird place. But the weekend was the first time I've seen a break in them rules where everyone's been really good. I could walk on the beach and there'd be 4 or 5 people in 3. There's 3 beaches as such on views. At the weekend, it was like a bank holiday Monday. It's really bad. And no toilets open, no facilities open, people doing what they need to do wherever they want to do. You know,
no, I've heard this on the news this morning because where people are visiting the coast, all the toilets are shut and they're just doing their everywhere, and it's that is tragic. That is terrible. Yeah, so are you expecting the busy one this weekend again? People breaking the rules. Well, they're not breaking the rules now, are they?
Well, I suppose that you've got to be able to travel back within a day. And there was a thing in Newquay on the local forums where the police did an early dawn raid, and basically all the camper vans were parked up the side of the street and they slept over inside the street. So the police in Newquay were banging them and sending them on their way the following day. So I think there's going to be a lot of people squeezing the rules, but there's nowhere to stay. There's no, and that's the other thing with the business side. In March, we had a paid Facebook ad, and it was doing well. And that just carried on. Yeah, I can't remember when. We probably set it up in February, and that was probably to run for a couple of months. The slating we started to get for being a local business that was advertising being open locally was really bad. So you've got to be really careful how you play all of this thing. People are saying, when you're going to open? Well, July looks like when we're going to open. But you've got to play the locals, because they pay, you know, to come on the tours as well. They're a key part to our quiet time. And you've got to be really sensitive to when you start promoting yourself. But like you say, Grant, it's an outdoor activity. Stick a pair of gloves on and wipe their helmet down. You're a good 2 meters away from each other. Please God, you know, it's going to be something people are going to want to do.
No, that's true. Anybody else got any questions? Maz, you're covered. You used to want to just touch on something, don't you, Maz, in the news? So we'll just go to Maz, who just wants to bring something up.
So we had the briefing yesterday where we had Matt Hancock. He announced that they've ordered 10 million antibody tests, and people who take the test will then be handed a immunity certificate if they have the positive antibodies. I don't know if you guys came across that yesterday.
Yes,
we saw it.
Yeah. And I know that Grant speaks a lot about David Icke, and I think he also mentioned something like this. And, you know, is it beginning to sound like Germany in the 1930s? I mean, what will they do to people from outside without a certificate? Are they looking to lock them up? You know,
careful, Maz. I mean, that's bordering something there. Yeah, but it is like you say. Possibly, are we going down a police nanny state? But
I'll go down that route. I mean, the population.
That's not me. I didn't stop her.
I can't hear Mark.
Can't hear? He hasn't said anything. You just stopped, Maz.
Okay.
Just bloody BT. At least you could have put a call in down to make sure everybody's network was proper this morning. So, Maz, sorry, continue what you were saying. She's on.
Matt, can I just bring in just briefly? It's Mental Health Week.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about this for for a while now. And just before the lockdown, all the rest of it, I did Grant was there, Maz was there. I did a presentation on how it's taken me 30 years to come to terms with losing a friend of mine who unfortunately took his own life when I was speaking to him on the landline when we were in the army, in the British Army, on the tower. And that was horrific for 18, 19-year-old as I was then to deal with. And I didn't really know how to deal with it. And as much as he told me the night before that he was going to take his own life by put his gun to his mouth, but didn't have the guts to pull the trigger. Obviously, he did that the next night. And 30 years on, I feel like, I've tried to brush under the carpet mental health, and I feel that this week is prevalent because it is Mental Health Week. And with all the whole coronavirus, the medicals people out there are suggesting, doctors and nurses, that the peak 3, forget peak 2, peak 3 will be suicides and mental health. And we have to be aware right now of reaching out, not on social media, because people aren't going to be on social media, reaching out by phone, by touch, anyone, obviously physically can't touch, but reaching out in other ways other than social media with people who you haven't seen, who are possibly in a bad place right now. Now, obviously, one or two, especially you, Matt, nearly 2-3 years ago, I was in a dark place. And had it been for a friend of mine who gave me a call in the middle of, I'm not saying I would took my own life, but I did feel really, and I feel a lot of people losing their businesses, losing their livelihoods. And it's great that we got Mental Health Week, but what are we seriously doing about it? It's okay saying, reach out, touch a brother, all this on social media, on the TV. Physically, I believe you have to pick up the phone. Great plug for BT, but you need to pick up the phone to obviously speak to people.
Mark, I think just to echo what you're saying, there's a colleague of mine 2 weeks ago. I only know him loosely, but he was a happy-go-lucky chap. I suppose a Robin Williams type scenario. He took his life, unfortunately, got a young family. And again, I think what we're thinking about is that people are taking their lives because of COVID and loss of money and whatever else. What I didn't think about with this chap was that he took his life because he was having family troubles with his wife, separation and all this good stuff. But in the COVID situation, you can't reach out. You can't get down the pub. You can't. I lost my brother to COVID at April the 1st as well. And that time where you want to go and hug and get drunk or whatever it takes, that outlet, we're confined. And even though I lost my brother, I didn't think about people who are suicidal, who actually can't reach out or not necessarily reach out, but people reach in physically. And helping people, it is a really valid point, because I think we think about too much of the financial impact of COVID. Actually, just the non-contact of people who were already suffering before COVID, it's just exacerbated their challenges.
I didn't want to bring up the subject, Darren, because about your brother, because I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about it. But if you're happy to talk about it,
absolutely fine.
We'll touch upon it. How old was he?
He was 53. 53, yeah. So. Yeah, he had high blood pressure and diabetes, but nothing that you would say was life-threatening in any way, But unfortunately, he worked at Jaguar Land Rover, and two people, a person who shared an office with him was also in ICU, and just thankfully came out, which was great. But yeah, it was also quick, and I think what people really fail to understand, it's not just the loss or the death of that person. It's the lead up where you get no information. My sister's a nurse, and that's the only way we was getting information, because the ICU was so busy they can't even call the wife to update her each day. And it's understanding, and also the loneliness of how he had to die. And then afterwards, the funeral of not being able to grieve. So 6 people. I watched my brother's funeral. We're an extremely close family. I watched it via a stream. It's just the whole part of losing someone in COVID. It really does, it's not just a standard for the want of a better word, but a normal loss. It's incredible. And I don't even believe we've begun to grieve. We're doing lots of things on social media. We're having some great bingo nights, which are all bespoke bingo callers taking the mick out of each other. And we have a quiz night tonight, which is all bespoke about it's family quizzes, pulling each other's Facebook profiles apart and whatever else, put it on a quiz. And that's really supportive on Zoom. There's a good 20 of us doing that. But yeah, it's incredible, if you don't have that level of support, just how hard it would be to deal with that grief. And I don't think we will until we can all hug each other. It's incredible.
think that's great to obviously share that.
No, it's
yeah.
Darren, really
No, it's fine. It's all right. I think you're the first person who we've had on. Obviously, we've talked about it for 8 weeks now. Who's actually lost somebody who's close to them. Regarding this, and it is obviously, I've been seeing your posts and stuff. So, but it's difficult to talk to somebody about it. But it's it is shocking, and the whole mental health issue is serious because people are being affected by that, being affected by money, their jobs, and all that. But there is help out there. My Siri comes on every time at this time of the day. I don't know why. There is help obviously out there, and we've talked about it many times. There is the news today that the government are expanding the holiday period for mortgages by another 3 months. Not everybody's taking that because a lot of people can still pay their mortgage, which is great. But for God's sake, don't get stressed out about paying your mortgage when there's all the help that you can get out there. Because there's lots of things to help people and speak to people. If you've got mental health issues, you're worried or you feel that it's all going down a hole, then reach out to somebody. You've got to speak to people because there is always someone to listen to and who will listen to you. And there's always loads of help. It is very difficult. Mark, do you want to bring anything else on that?
I just want to say that because I think Darren's hit a massive point there. Obviously, condolences. It's lip service, I'm sure, this time. I mean, gee whiz. But this whole situation where you can't even go out and see your family is in my view, as we start seeing the numbers drop and all the rest, and I know we've got to wait for this, we've got to wait for all of this. But when other countries are starting to relax a little bit, just even those bubbles, and they're talking about now schools can be in small bubbles where the kids they won't be mixing with anyone else, and therefore you're doing that in school. Why can't you do that in families? Because
I think the trouble is, Mark, is that I look at my frail, dad, and knowing the seriousness of it and touching on the seriousness of it, where I did a gig, I play in a band, I did a gig in Foy, tiny little fishing town, probably around the late March. Shouldn't have done. It was all still in the media there. It was all starting to ramp up. So the risk value to me was, okay, it's coming. We'll cough at each other. Someone coughs on me. By the end of the night, there's people all around me. I'm playing like a loon in the middle of a pub. I didn't take the risk so serious, but maybe because I'm so personally affected. But I look at my father and I think I wouldn't want it on my conscience if I passed it on to him. And I think that's what's going on. There is a fear factor. Going on to the stats, and people saying it's safe to do this, it's safe to do that. They're 4-month-old. That's at best. We wouldn't. My point the other day, we wouldn't open a business or buy a business on the back of 4-month stats. Or you wouldn't even get a loan. You try and get a mortgage now, you've got 3 years, data. So for that data to be accurate, so it is literally damned if you do, damned if you don't. There was a post on View Banter the other day, and what should we start doing? And the reality is, if we open in September, we could have another spike in the winter, which is going to be catastrophic. Or do we control open now, which I think weirdly is the right way, but unfortunately, the majority of the public are pretty stupid, as we can see on the beaches the weekend. No social distancing whatsoever. You open the doors and the floodgates go. I've put it down to, we've just got all these lovely guinea pigs now that decided to help us out a little bit. You know what I mean? They all want to go and do all this stupidness, and unfortunately, but the sad thing is they'll probably pass it on to someone more frail. But I think we have to control open because we don't have any option. Like you say, you're damned if you do. The businesses will go down. People will start suicidal. All sorts of other impact, which will be just as much as Corona. But what we can't say is that Corona is only this big because we just don't know. We just don't know how big Corona is or could be.
No, that's quite true. Right, we're nearly at the end of the today's show. Over our time. No, that's fine, mate. So no, not shooting down. Literally, we will have you back on, Darren, because you talk a lot of sense.
I'll ride around the garden next time for you with a mobile.
Well, we do need. What I was just sitting here thinking. I know I should be listening to it. I was thinking, how can we use Darren now to make this really interesting in another episode? And what I want to do is because obviously you can connect to this via your phone, so we want to strap the phone on the front of the Segway, and we want to see you out on the Segway and see how well that balancing is.
2 meter distancing.
So, just to see how it works. Right, Mark, what are you up to this weekend? Here we go.
Well, it's the bin party, Friday night bin party.
Bin time. Yeah, there we go.
But last week, I think I'll share you I'll share the pictures with you because I haven't actually put them on social media yet. But as you capture me going into Greg's, it'd be really important. Last week we had a Eurovision Song Contest. Yeah, there we go. And the whole family and all our friends dressed up. We were TikTok something from I think it was the Netherlands that we chose as a country. And we all had to reenact the musical from the 70s. Yeah, so I've got pictures of that, got video of that. My wife is the lead singer, so yeah, even better.
That's so. Is that happening this weekend, or is that what happened last weekend?
But what I mean is, on a Saturday. Sorry, I'll just put it in context. On a Saturday, we have a Zoom call, a bit like what Darren's doing with his family.
Oh, okay.
We do it with all our friends and the kids, and each week, someone else hosts it and calls it. So last week, our good friends who love dressing up. She's a teacher, obviously serious job, but she loves this. And they did a Brit, hosting in the house. So Brits at the hedges, but we were all in our own, and we all had to then choose a country and then choose a band that we were going to do. And we all voted on each other. I personally think there was tactical voting there because UK come third, and Germany won.
I think you're taking this a little bit too seriously there, Mark. Right, Grant, what are you up to this weekend?
I'm going to take advantage of the ability now to go to travel somewhere, to do a bit of exercise. So we're going to have a little drive up to Derbyshire on Sunday morning and do a decent walk. So I'm really looking forward to that, getting right out in the sticks.
Fantastic. Okay, that's good. Maz, what are you up to?
Well, Ramadan's going to be over. So we're celebrating. It's like Christmas. It's called Eid. So looking forward to that.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, won't be with all of the family, obviously with social distancing and everything. So we're utilizing the digital platform and having Zoom parties. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Beautiful. Darren, what are you going to be doing this weekend?
I've got 2 segways to repair and send off. I'll be doing that. I've got a customer who decides to try and put them through with us. But yeah, I'll be doing that and then having some fun with the kids. And supposed to be getting a new barbecue today, didn't turn up. Gutted.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Monday as well.
Can I ask Darren? I've got one last question for Darren.
Go on, Grant.
So, if Segway is a brand name, a bit like Hoover, what do you call them if you don't call them a Segway?
So, ours are called Easy Glide. In fact, the name was given to us by a Facebook post.
What's the generic name?
But we do call them Segway Experience. It's a Segway Experience. And the get out of jail free card is Segway's been bought several times by several companies, and they're now a Chinese company, and their patents have run out last year. Like the Swagways, the little balance boards, they're not so bothered anymore about trying to sue people over their brand name. They sort of appreciate that it is. Though I think if we were calling them Segway, so we'd call them Easy Glide, a Segway Experience. It'd be hard to.
So in other words, there is no generic name for a Segway style device.
No. It's called a balance scooter. So Chinese will call them a balance scooter, or personal transporter.
Right,
yeah.
Got you.
Ooh, I like that one. Okay. So, what did you say? What are you doing at the weekend, Matt? Oh, well, I'll tell you what I'm doing at the weekend. So obviously tonight we have the B93 house party. It's the return of the bangers again tonight because it was so successful last week. That means big tunes. When we call them bangers, it's big tunes. So it's not what you think it is. That's tonight as normal at 8:00. And then tomorrow night we've got our B93. It just fits perfectly, that doesn't it? The B93 quiz night. Myself and Mike and our special guest halfway through. Actually, we know what? You should have had Darren on for the halfway segment of the quiz night. That would have been good. And then Sunday we've got a street barbecue. No, this is something new. All the houses are bringing their barbecues out onto the front lawns, onto the fronts, on the drives, and we're going to have a bit of a cook-off on Sunday afternoon. So that'll be nice. I think that'd be good.
Great bank holiday. Can I
lovely. What you saying, Mark? Sorry.
Can I steal that?
Why? What do you want to steal it for? Steal the idea.
The street barbecue.
Well, you don't want to cook it by the bins, do you?
I'll just move those.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Also, I got sent a photograph, which was a friend of mine sent me this photograph. Sorry, it's the wrong way round, but that was a picture of the UK on Wednesday from the space station, and it's look how clear that is, and you can see the sand as well in the sea. That shows you how clear the water is around the UK at the moment, which is beautiful. It's so clear now. Please bear with me if you don't understand what this joke is. But the sky was so clear you could see the Universal logo going around the world.
Oh, God.
So I'll just leave that with you. Anyway, I will see you all on Monday. No, are we on Monday? It's Bank Holiday Monday. Are we on?
Big bank holiday, walking, going to the beach. Definitely going to Bude.
I don't think he wants you down there, Mark.
Don't you bring a carrier bag for your toileting?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the Brexit
Back.
Mark will do that.
So are we on Monday or are we doing Tuesday? Let's have a quick vote. Grant, do you want to do Monday?
Yeah, I'm available.
Okay. Mark, where are you?
Not 100% sure, but I'll say yes for the moment. If anything changes.
Okay.
Well,
you know, I'm going to say if he's not there, he'll be there, won't he? So that's the thing. And Maz, will you be available Monday?
I'm not sure, really. Can I get back to you?
Hello.
Yeah,
okay, thanks for that.
Come on.
You know, it's not as if you're talking to hundreds of people. You know, you're not committing to anything. If not, I'll just get Darren back. You'll be here. Right, that's it, everybody. We'll see you Monday. Sacked straight away, Maz. We'll see you Monday, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend and a bank holiday weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.
guys, bye.
There we go.